What's up, guys? My name is Sam and welcome to my YouTube channel. So this channel, I have created it for the purpose of helping others that are involved in high conflict child custody disputes. I've been going through two really high conflict cases for over 6 years. I'm not going to be getting into laws or anything like that, but I just know that if I knew 6 years ago what I know now, I would be in a much different position. So I've got so many resources, advice, tips, whole bunch of stuff that's just going to help you understand what you're getting into if you're just now getting into any kind of situation, and how to deal with certain situations. For instance, texting. If you're texting, make sure when you send that text that you're okay with a judge seeing whatever that text message says, because 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, you're going to see it filed in court. So you want to be able to establish healthy communication and co-parenting boundaries with your ex, and if they have a new partner. But if you're in a really intense high conflict case, you're going to be dealing with something 9 times out of 10, which is called parental alienation. So today I just wanted to go over parent alienation and co-parenting. So I also wanted to add that I finally have got the link finished, the URL and everything, and I'm going to post the Facebook group URL in the description, and I'll put it up in this video too at the end, or here, right there. But anyways, let's go ahead and go over this. And if any of this sounds familiar to you and you don't know what it's called legally, what you're dealing with, it's called parental alienation, aka alienation of affection. And this is something I'm personally dealing with right now. So, and where it's at with my daughter, it's to the point where she is telling me she doesn't want me in her life anymore. And it's not her fault, so I don't want anybody to get it twisted. Because when a child's being coached for so long to believe something about a parent who isn't in their life, but not by that parent's choice. I have joint custody of my child, but her father just will not let me see her. And I have to get an attorney so I can get my rights acknowledged. So right now, as it stands, when I call my child, she doesn't want to talk to me. You can hear the girlfriend in the background telling her what to say. I mean, and I know she's been coaching her since she was about 18 months old, because I was sent a video clip of before my daughter could fully walk all the way, and her with my daughter on her lap just saying degrading things about me and demeaning things about me. The harassment is unreal that you can go through, and cyber stalking. So make sure you got all your stuff online, private, or whatever you need to do if you're in a high conflict case right now. So if this sounds familiar to you, this is what you're going through, then check out my Facebook page. Like I said, the link is in the description. And I went over these last week, but I was kind of just brushing over it and didn't talk about the co-parenting aspect. So I'm just going to go over both of them today. So this is from the National Parents Organization website, but I'm also going to post it on the Facebook group so you can have the printout yourself. But it says, what is family violence? Family violence refers to all types of abuse that occur in families, including physical, sexual, psychological, and financial abuse, as well as. And the next one says, what are parental alienating behaviors? Parental alienating behaviors are a parent's persistent use of patterns of behaviors over time to harm the child's relationship with the other parent. Alienating parents use many different behaviors, such as bad-mouthing the alienated parent to the child and others, interfering with their contact, and enlisting the child as an ally against them. Next one, And let me just say something. The reason I paused is because, like, it makes me sick to my stomach that my child's in a situation where she's in front of another adult that obviously she, sees as having power over her, sitting there and like telling me the things she tells me. She hangs up the phone on me, like, and this is all just very recently it happened, but it was overnight. So, I've made a GoFundMe and I'm gonna raise funds to get an attorney because I have spent so much money in legal fees over the past year. And this is what can happen if these high conflict cases don't get resolved. Just last year, I spent over 20 grand in guardian ad litem fees, attorney fees, the other party attorney fees. And I have 2 cases that I've dealt with for 6 years. And the unfortunate thing for me is in both of those cases, the fathers have significant others who decided to become buddies based on not liking me, because that's how they found each other, through social media. They scouted out for each other and formed this toxic friendship based on hating me. And then they had a fallout. So one of them decided to send me hundreds of screenshots showing that the other one was hurting my child, was coaching my child. That's how I got the coaching video of her when she was 18 months old, of all this. And it's just petty high school crap that grown women are tearing down another female, all because she's the mother of the child of the person you're currently with. That's mind-blowing to me. It's just so mind-blowing to me that, because I get sick to my stomach if I make somebody feel bad. For real. Like, y'all get like that? Like, where it's like, okay, how do I say this without, like, feeling like crap about it? Because, like, I, like, don't want to make this person feel like shit. But unfortunately, there are people out there who just are really nasty people. So you've got to watch your back. Watch what you post on social media. Watch what you say in text messages. And it sucks to have to, like, train yourself to live that way just to have a relationship with your child. But that's what high conflict custody battles can get to. And now it's to a point where I feel like I'm just frozen because my daughter, like, these factors are all just, this list is exactly what I'm dealing with, and the behaviors my daughter feels towards me. And it's most of the time me getting off the phone crying because she hung up on me. And it's not her fault. It's not, because she's 6 years old. But the person doing it, shame on her and anybody else out there doing it. And that's why I'm doing this channel. And that's why I am sitting here and putting the effort in to help other people so they're not in this situation, because it's messed up. My whole life has been infiltrated by these people where it's like, it's insane. Every aspect of my life where they've interfered in my personal immediate family, that's states away, and forming relationships with them just to try to turn them against me. It is the most insane thing, but I'm having to go through it, and I'm just over it. And I've been falsely accused of abusing my children, this and that, and none of it has ever had any evidence to it. And in fact, at one point, with DSS involved in false claims made against me, when we were in court, not even halfway through the hearing, the judge called counsel back, and then she was upset that I was in her courtroom because I was in there based on hearsay claims by the other parent and their significant other. I never got an apology. I never was told, hey, sorry we did that so that we could try to get full custody. But it's like, why? Like, nobody's making it this whole time. It's like, when do we make it about what's best for this child? Because when I think, would it have been good for me growing up not to have my dad around? Would it have been good not to have my mom around? No. Okay, if they weren't together, fine, whatever. But my parents stayed together until I graduated. But the fact of the matter is, I don't need them to be together, but I need each of them to be in my life. And I don't see why a child would feel any different now. I don't see why there's some people that want to sit there and be so selfish just to hurt somebody. Like, it doesn't make sense to me how people go out of their way and they put a ridiculous amount of time into trolling somebody's social media, into following them around, into dissecting their life and trying to ruin it. But if it were the other way around on them, oh, they wouldn't like it. So I know I'm a little fired up, but it sucks. It really sucks going through this. At one point, one of these females stole my phone out of the diaper bag, and then pictures I had in there that were private pictures to an old boyfriend were sent out and put online and everything. I mean, they're ruthless for real. And how I ended up in this situation where there's two of these individuals who had the same idea to reach out to each other and form this toxic bond based on hurting me and my relationship with my children, and have been extremely successful with this. They have done nothing but succeed. It's now to a point where there's these FaceTime chats going on. I don't even get FaceTime with my kids because they won't allow it. I don't know why, but I don't get FaceTimes with the kids. But is it appropriate for these two females who otherwise would not have any knowledge of one another or have a relationship or speak to one another without having a relationship based on toxically hating me? That if I was non-existent, these two females would not have a relationship, friendship, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, it's inappropriate. It's inappropriate when you contact my family. It's inappropriate that you're trying to erase me from my child's life by doing a leapfrog over me so that you can coordinate the contact between my family and my children. I do not believe this is okay. And it sucks because if you do not handle it correctly, you need to document. Evidence is key here, you guys. I'm going to, on my video tomorrow, I'm going to tell you everything you need to have and get so that you know you're going to have everything that you need documented. Every minute of interaction with those co-parents or co-parent, you need to document. And you're going to thank me later, I promise. Regardless, something needs to be done about it, because it's not okay that somebody can make false accusations against another parent that uproots their whole life, ruins their job, it ruins so many different things in their life, like to the point where it impacts their it impacts their standard of living and their income. Let's say it's that, when that happens, these people who are making false reports, making false claims, and if you can prove that certain people are alienating you from your child, these people need to be held accountable. That's what I want to know. Why aren't the people making these false reports to get desirable custody outcomes not being held accountable? And I don't care what state you're in, because this entire nation needs a family court reform. I mean, the fact that in one of the cases that I've been in, there's rotating judges. I don't believe that there should ever be a rotating system of judges in any kind of jurisdiction. Only one judge, or maybe two at the most, but those two same judges who get to know the case, get to know who you are, get to know who the other parent is, and they understand it. But when you have rotating judges, I don't feel like that's in a child's best interest, but that's my opinion. And honestly, I'm forming this opinion based off of how it's working in 2 different states. I have cases that are in separate states. And in one case, with the same judge for the entire time, huge advantage. Huge. Because that judge understands the case. They know what's happened. They know what's going on. The last time you were here, this has happened. So what has happened since then? And that is the point when you go into these hearings, especially if you've had previous hearings. You cannot go back and, let's say you're writing a statement for your paperwork. You can't include anything in there that was before the previous hearing. It's since the previous hearing and forward in most states. So why would a rotating judge system be okay? That's my thoughts on it. So I don't want to get too into that. Let's finish this list. Anyway, so we were at, okay, so parental alienating behaviors are child abuse, 100%. They result in the same effects to the child as well. For instance, like poor appetite and stuff, and that affects the child's growth. Like, come on. But making a child believe a parent has abandoned and does not love them, or that the parent is dangerous or bad, is psychological abuse. Alienated children's developmental needs are also often neglected by alienating parents. In severe cases, children need protection from these psychologically abusive behaviors. All right, next one. Parental alienating behaviors are intimate partner violence. Parental alienating behaviors are direct and indirect attacks made by an alienating parent towards the alienated parent to harm and control them. The children are used as weapons in these attacks, and they become collateral damage in the process. This is 100% true. Where was I? Domestic violence researchers label these same behaviors as a form of coercive control. If any of this sounds familiar to you, when you get on Facebook, please check out this page. Here's a link right there. I'm telling you, join this group, y'all. I just started it because we got to get some attention on this, because I want people held accountable when they're ruining other parents' lives with false allegations and parent alienation. There's not a lot of resources out there for that I could find, but if you have any, please leave them in the comments or jump on the group and put them there. If you have anything helpful, put whatever, that's going to be helpful for the group. I want this to be like a community where I can really sit there and look and see how many people are dealing with this, because if you are dealing with this, it's not something you talk to people about because it's embarrassing, it's confusing, it's heartbreaking, and you don't want to, in a lot of cases, it's just too much. So I just want to have a place where people can actually get some, hey, I've been through it, this is what I did. And have a Facebook group where other people can share their experiences and give advice as well. And I'll put the resources up that in like these papers and everything, resources, things you can look up on the websites for your states, all that good stuff. So, I just want to if I can make one person's relationship with their child a little bit more successful from high conflict because of this channel, I've achieved my goal with the channel. All right, so next one. Parental alienating behaviors are coercively controlling. The alienating parent's intent is to manipulate and control the alienated parent's actions and outcomes. The alienated parent experiences negative outcomes if they do not comply with the alienating parent's demands or threats. I lost my spot, you guys. Okay, such as not being able to see their children. The coercively controlling behavior of the alienating parent leads to their having a greater control and dominance over the alienated parent, limits their ability to make decisions and be respected, and undermines their parental authority. All right, next one says, most families affected by parental alienation are not hybrid cases. Now, this is important right here, and this is what I want to change for people. And what should not happen in a family court is this. Compared to other forms of abuse, coercive controlling behaviors are not often reciprocated by the victim. This form of abuse creates a power imbalances such as victim has little power or influence in the family. Describing such families as hybrids implies that both parents are to blame. The alienated parent is then blamed for being the victim of the alienating parent's coercive controlling behaviors when it only takes one person to create a hostile environment. You do not want to be labeled as one of those hybrid cases if you are a victim. If you are dealing with this stuff, and if it does sound familiar, you do not want to be in a situation where you have a judge say, well, this is what you're doing. So that's like I say with the text messages. If you don't want a judge to read it, don't write it. Don't argue with that other parent. If you don't comply with their demands and they get upset, then that's on them. You follow that order and do what's in the best interest of your child, and you're going to be all right. But just don't lose your temper. The other page I wanted to share before I jumped off of here, this says it's about co-parenting. It's a little worksheet, or not worksheet, it's a little just a flyer thing. It says co-parenting or shared parenting is a way for divorced, separated, and never married parents to approach the challenges of raising children together, even when they've chosen not to live together or maintain an intimate relationship with each other. Why is co-parenting so important for children? The reasons are so many, but this says children find comfort in knowing both parents love them and are putting them first. Next, children learn about commitment, responsibility, selflessness when they watch two adults willing to work together to make that happen. Children find security and safety in consistent routine rules, etc. of co-parenting. It's easier for children to operate in daily life with both parents are aware of schedules, struggles, emergency contacts, and share school information, sports team schedules, and medical appointments, etc. How can parents get started with co-parenting? Communicate. Be willing to listen. Focus on talking openly about your children, not past issues. Don't bring up past stuff. You can't move forward that way. Compromise. Be open with the partner's concerns, thoughts, and ideas. You have got to let the other parent have input in the child's life. If you're not doing that at all, then you might want to look at your actions. But if it's happening to you, telling you, document it. Write it down. Get a journal. And I'm going to tell you the best journal to buy for documenting your case in my video tomorrow. So check back here. Anyways, and create. Write a parenting plan together, including an agreement on broad strategies as well as homework rules, curfews, and allowance. And that's another thing I'm going to be going over this week is what a parenting plan is. All right. The last section says what can get in the way of successful co-parenting. The strain of parents' personal relationships, lost in trust, which often follows separation and divorce. Negative remarks about the other parent. Using your child to punish the other parent. Inconsistent discipline routine. Unwillingness to compromise. Co-parents often have different ways to diffuse a situation. Humor versus affection, which is actually healthy for the child. Another reason why co-parenting is so beneficial. An uncooperative co-parent, try your best to keep emotions in check. Focus on practical and your child's best interest. Consider pulling in a third adult whom you both respect to help, aka mediate the situation. That hasn't been manipulated. So, because that can happen too. You don't want to bring in a third person who ends up being biased. So that would be a big issue. Been through that too, you guys. Anyways, on the side here, it says, all right, and right here on the side, this list right here, I'm going to just read over that really quick before I wrap this up. So, compromise. Co-parents often have different ways to diffuse a situation. Humor versus affection, which is actually healthy for the child. Another reason why co-parenting is so beneficial. An uncooperative co-parent, try your best to keep emotions in check. Focus on practical and your child's best interest. Consider pulling in a third adult whom you both respect to help, aka mediate the situation. That hasn't been manipulated. So, because that can happen too. You don't want to bring in a third person who ends up being biased. So that would be a big issue. Been through that too, you guys. All right, guys. In this little side section over here is, are you co-parenting? Keep the focus on your children and follow these tips. I'm just going to read these over real quick with your child. Number 1, make it clear that you both love your children and you're working together for them. Number 2, remind them when and how long they will be going to the other parent's house in advance so they will be prepared. Number 3, agree to have the visiting parent drop your child off after the visit. By picking them up from the other parent, you may be encroaching on important bonding time. And number 4, when your children returns, keep things low key. Try to find a routine each time they return, such as having a special dinner or watching a movie together. Don't ask irrelevant questions about the other parent. For instance, tonight, I'm about to go pick up Violet, so we always watch a movie on Thursday nights, which tonight they have the new Despicable Me movie where you can order it on Amazon so you don't have to go to the theater. We're going to do that. Good example. Make a routine, and that's ours. All right, and then the last part says, with your co-parent what to do. Number 1, parent as a team. Try to agree with your co-parent on basic rules. Regarding homework, dinner, and bedtimes. Family-wide rules, routines, and disciplines that your child has to follow in both homes can be helpful when rules are different from clear and patient and consistent in your home. Number 2, agree to communicate without sarcasm, eye-rolling, or complaints. Number 3, set aside anger and hurt feelings. Have peaceful, consistent, and purposeful conversations. Set a business-like tone. Make requests rather than demands. Would you be willing to listen, show restraint, and openly and keep conversations child-focused? Number 4, consider the transition between homes and its impact on children and adults. Make sure if the child is punished or rewarded for behavior at one parent's house, that this is reinforced at the other parent's house. And none of these things can happen if you have a parent who is being malicious towards you, harassing you, and alienating your child from you. So this is also a good indicator to be able to use, as this is how the other parent is not co-parenting for the best interest of the child. To kind of, when you're putting your case together, this is a good thing to kind of base that on, is like, okay, ask yourself, yeah, we're not co-parenting, but let me look at this and see what I can say about, hey, are they doing this and how aren't they doing this? Because you want detail. You want the judge to understand everything. So that's the overview on what the recognizing signs are with parent alienation and all of that with the co-parenting. If that doesn't sound familiar, but the parent alienation does, then that's an issue. So if you're looking for resources and you need help with just being able to even build your case, like in how to document evidence, all that good stuff, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, because that's exactly what I'm going to be doing here. I want to be that parent you can come to for advice on anything high conflict child custody. I do not have a degree. I am not an attorney. I am a parent who wants to help other parents understand what can happen and what to be aware of and what not to do and all that good stuff. I want to be able to bring attention to holding people responsible for destroying relationships, parent-child relationships, by making false reports, by using parental alienation as a tool to destroy that relationship, etc. And if they aren't held accountable for it, then they're never going to stop. And I feel like that's so true, because I've been going through these cases for so long, and the fact that it's still so actively malicious how I'm being treated, it's time that something change, you guys. And it's not going to change if somebody doesn't bring attention to it. So it's kind of what this little seed here is going to start, I hope. So anyways, guys, if you know anybody who else is going through something difficult, whatever, with child custody, refer them here. And again, here's that link to the Facebook group. And thanks for watching, guys. I hope everybody has a great rest of your day, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace out.